bring up is a young guy. You saw him yesterday. Lawrence Camp held it down for a long time as the #1 income earner. There was a young man, I say young because he's about my age, who just asked Lawrence, and he's here. He made the commitment. He wasn't sure if he could make it because he's got a newborn, 3 months old, I believe. This dude, I haven't gotten a chance to hang out with him as much as I wanted to hang out with him, but the time that I have spent with him, guy's totally humble, totally cool, and I'm like, how is it just you that's doing all these big ass things? And we're gonna bring him up here so we can tell you, guys, without further ado, Chris Vance.
You guys are still awake? I see anybody get hungry? About time to break for lunch, right? So I was at a leaders dinner last night with Dave and Dave. Had a great time. And, yeah, we're good. So I was at a leaders dinner last night, and Dave Wood comes up to D-Dub. He said, "You're speaking tomorrow, right?" I looked at him, I said, "I don't know, am I?" He looked at me and goes, "I don't know, are you?" I said, "I don't know, am I?" I said, "Yeah, you are." So I literally found out last night that I was going to be up here in front of 48,000 people. Or like 1,000, but hey, lots of people here for our first event, which was awesome. So, had a good time last night. Everybody, did you guys, anybody hungover from last night? Okay, that guy right there, everybody move away in case he needs room to hurl. But, so I was coming upstairs last night about 2 a.m. and saw D-Dub over talking to a few people before he was going to hit the sack. And so I figured, you know what, I'm just going to go up and walk up to him and say goodnight real quick and then head to my room myself. And so I'm like, you know, I see these 3 big black guys standing by Dave. And I'm like, you know what, I'm one of the top guys. I can just walk up and say, hey, goodnight. So I'm walking up, I don't even pay attention to these guys. Bam! Forearm to the jugular. Body check me. I'm like, well, maybe I won't say goodnight to Dave. I'm looking at this guy 5 times my size. I'm like, dude, I'm 92 pounds. I'm not a threat. Let me say goodnight. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a good time. I hope you guys are getting a lot of good stuff. Dave and Dave, you guys put on an awesome thing for the first event. Give them a hand, everybody. So, what I want to do is I want to tell you guys, I figured something out. I figured out why people struggle in this industry, okay? Something that's such a great industry, a legitimate industry, yet so many people struggling. You guys want to know what I figured out? Yeah. Okay, well, I'll get into that in just a moment. What I want to do is I kind of want to piggyback a little bit. When I was up here getting one of those massive checks, now I'm not really talking about the number on the check, but the size of the check, which is, again, about 3 times the size of me. So speaking of the guys who got the check, Lawrence, all you other guys, how are you getting that thing home? I don't want to fold it up. It's too pretty. But we'll figure out a way. Maybe go to UPN. Here's the thing. I drove and I don't even think it'll fit in my car. But we'll figure it out. So before I get into what I figured out as far as why people struggle on the internet, I want to go into the two concepts, the 2 factors for success in this industry. And again, it's kind of piggybacking and elaborating on just a couple minutes I had up here when I got that check. But let me tell you a quick story, okay? It was just a few years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, where I was cruising around town, delivering pizzas in a rattle-trap piece of crap, 1989 Buick Skylark. This thing, between every delivery, I seriously had milk jugs in my car full of water, because every time I would shake, rattle, and roll back into dominoes, I would have to, smoke would come pouring out of the engine compartment because I had to fill it back up with water. It was that bad. This is all I had. I had just dropped out of college after 1 year. I was a computer tech major. I'm like, I don't fit in with these guys. I can turn on a computer and that's about it. So I went to school for 1 year. I dropped out, moved back in with my folks, had $198 to my name. I was an absolute loser. Okay, life completely sucked. That was one of the worst times for me. So I didn't know what I was going to do, where I was going to go. I saw not a glimmer of hope anywhere in my future. So I was introduced to the concept of home-based businesses back in high school even. And it was probably 3 or 4 years where I would go to friends and family. I would hold hotel meetings. I would invite friends and family over to my house. I was passing out these samples. This one in particular was a liquid vitamin, and it tasted so bad that I was like 21 years old at the time. I had not a wrinkle on my forehead. However, when you took this stuff, for me, it took me 5 minutes to wipe the wrinkles off my forehead. Now, some of you out there, a little older, probably would take you about 10 hours. It was that bad. So I did this for about 3 or 4 years before I even realized that I had a problem. I realized the first problem that I had was I'm not a salesperson. I have no business picking up the phone, selling anything, telling anything. In fact, if you would have had me up here 5 years ago, I'd be up here stuttering, stammering. I wouldn't be able to complete a sentence. I'm actually an introvert. Would you guys believe that? A complete introvert. But you know what? When you make crazy amounts of money, it does some cool things for your confidence. You guys believe me with that? So I realized that I'm not a salesperson. I have no business selling and telling. So what do I do? The great thing about technology is that it can automate the process for you of selling and telling. I was the one screwing everything up. I had no business being a variable in the equation for success. So I realized that with technology, there's systems out there that can automate the hard stuff. We were all raised with those principles that it takes a lot of hard work to make a lot of money, right? We were all raised, show of hands, everybody raised with those principles? Absolutely. And it does take a lot of hard work to make a lot of money, but the neat thing about it is when you have a system that does the selling and telling for you, the hard work is done. When you have studs like Dave and Dave, who are doing the videos and they're keeping things fresh and they're doing the systems for you, that part is done. That's half the equation for success, and that's the hard part. So you guys excited about that? I mean, you know it's simple now because the hard stuff is done. The other problem that I had is I realized I'm going to the wrong people. I'm going to friends and family who don't see the vision. I'm going to all these people who don't understand the things that I understand. They're fine slaving away for the man. They're fine building someone else's dream. But I had these dreams and these goals. I had these ambitions that I knew were not going to be met by working for somebody else. So those are my 2 problems. I needed a system to do the selling and the telling for me, and I needed to find a way to where I could find people like you beautiful folks out there who saw the vision, had the vision, and knew the potential in this industry. It was back in about 2006, living with my parents. Every night I would come home just beaten, battered from another grueling day of pizza delivery. I always had a box of leftover pizza. I hate pizza now. Actually, I lied. It's still one of my favorite foods. That's when I had this epiphany. Apparently I'm not very bright because it took me 3 or 4 years to figure out that I even had a problem. I was cruising around the internet one night after getting home from delivery pizza, and I said, you know what? I see all these people out there making crazy money, no smarter than me, they don't have any more talent than I do. I didn't have very many at the time. But so I just began playing around on the internet. It was around November, December 2006, and I ran across this system where I saw these guys making crazy money. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to piggyback them. I'm going to use the same website that these guys are doing. And I know that that website is making them a lot of money. So I said, if I can figure out how to get like-minded people to that system, then I'm going to be successful too. So ironically, it was about that same time where it was a friend of mine who said, hey, have you ever tried this? And it was a traffic driving strategy. And I'll let you know exactly what I did in just a moment. But this strategy is something where it involves someone else driving the traffic for me. I got the leads, and this system converted for me. I ended up making close to $1,000 in my first 3 days. I pulled in, it was about $12,000 in my first month, and by my 5th month, May of 2007, I pulled in a 6-figure month. Would you guys be cool with that? Pulling 6 figures in a 30 or 31 day period? So, when that happened, my life completely changed. I went out and got all the toys. I bought my dream car, Dodge Viper. Any dudes out there would like to be cruising around in a Dodge Viper? So I was able to travel. I had complete freedom in every scope of the realm. I had time freedom, I had financial freedom, and life was awesome. So those are the 2 things that I figured out. I need a system, and I just need to drive traffic to that. And that's the cool thing for you guys, is you have the system. Because you have Empower Network, you guys have everything you need to succeed. The only thing you guys need is to drive traffic through that, through the system. Do you guys believe that? Yeah. A good system and traffic is the perfect equation for success. So what that does is it frees you guys up to focus 100% on driving traffic to the system. The more traffic you drive to it, is the more money you make. More traffic equals more money. Consistent traffic equals consistent money, and that is what's going to get you guys out of that J-O-B. How many of you guys want to know exactly what I did back in 2006 to generate those leads? It's something you guys have probably heard about, and someone might have. I've been kind of in and out, working with team members and things of the sort throughout this event. So it might be something that's already been mentioned, but it was with something as simple as something called solo ads. You guys, is everybody familiar with what a solo ad is? I'm not going to get into that because I don't have time right now. But a solo ad is one of the easiest way to generate leads, quality leads, niche leads, and get them in mass amounts. That is something that I did, and I'm not going to give you guys sources and everything, because if I did that, we would have 1,000 people all going to the same thing, and then you guys would call me a liar because they wouldn't convert. But what I did is I made Google my best friend. I went to Google and I would type in solo ad publishers. I would type in solo ads just generically. And I found all these publishers, and over the course of the last few years, I have contacts with just these ginormous lists, hundreds of thousands of people, to where I can just, in fact, let me give you an example here. Before I left for this event, on Tuesday, I called up, actually, he contacted me, and he said, hey Chris, I've got a solo ad space for you for this week to give you 2,000 guaranteed clicks to your website. So I said, shoot, I'm in. I'm a firm believer of solo ads. That's what my success is responsible to, a good system and solo ads to drive that traffic. So I said, I'm in. Now, to get 2,000 clicks, this one was a little spendy. I had to spend about $600, okay? Now don't freak out, because I'll show you something in a minute. But I paid him $600, and I got 2,000 unique clicks to my website. And the neat thing is, when you know what your conversions are, so let's say my capture page converts at 20%. That means from 2,000 clicks, I'm going to get 400 leads in my funnel, through my system. And then my autoresponder is going to go to work and give me just an astronomical conversion on the back end. So then if my website, let's say my website converts leads at 5%. We have some math wizards here. What's 5% of 400? 20? That means, all right, just as an example here, from that one solo ad, when my capture page converts at 20% and my sales website converts at 5%, that means I can expect roughly 20 sales. How cool is that? When you know your numbers, you know your conversions, you know exactly what you can expect. So it was a simple strategy that I use to this day. In fact, I would say a good 70% of what I do to make the money I do. You saw that number on that check that I got, working this thing part-time, and now that we have some higher ticket stuff, I'm going to be doing this bad boy full-time. A couple hours a day, you know. But that's the cool thing about solo ads, okay? So that's about 70% of what I do to this day. So if you guys do that alone, all right, if you guys are doing something for your business every day and you're doing solo ads, you guys are going to be getting leads to your system. That system is going to go to work for you, and it's a beautiful thing. Now there's a lot of other things that you can do for marketing, and this is where, that seems to be one of the biggest struggles people face. Well, I gave you 70% of what I do right there, but if there are other things you want to do, this is where I encourage you guys, you've heard this all weekend. If you guys want to learn marketing, you want to know what to do, this is where I encourage all of you guys to just get all in, okay? Who's all in? By a show of hands, let me see who's all in. Okay. Okay. Now, put your hands down. Now, don't be ashamed, but raise your hand if you're not all in. Okay. You know what's awesome? I would say 80%, maybe 85%. What do you guys say? Raise their hands if they're all in, and that's awesome. In fact, is John? I don't know how to pronounce your last name. It starts with an S. There he is. Got all in last night. Give him a hand. Stand up, man. That guy right there made the decision last night. I think he was just a $25 guy. Jumped all in last night, made that decision, and we're going to make some big things happen for you because you took action and you made that decision. I love you for it. So that's what I encourage you guys to do. Because he got all in, not only am I going to make sure that he does what he needs to do, he's also going to have just some killer training back there with the Costa Rica Intensive. He's going to have some killer stuff with the 15K formula. In fact, one of the trainings I did is back there, so if you guys want that, there's a little incentive for you. So I encourage you guys to do that. If you can't, there's just no way, shape, or form, you just can't make it happen, then use what you have to make some money, and then as soon as you're capable of getting it, guys, I encourage you to do it because the value inside of there is priceless. You can't put a price on it. Now the last thing I want to talk to you guys about is, I'm over time by 32 seconds. See you guys. The last thing I want to talk to you about real quick is I was about ready to jump right into it, is why people are struggling in this industry. I'm going to keep this brief, alright? Make sure you write a couple things down here though. The reason why people struggle in this industry is because they lack a structure. As simple as that sounds, people lack a structure. So many people come into this industry treating their business like a hobby and expecting them to pay them like a business. It doesn't work that way. Let me give you an example. Imagine going to your job, and if you don't have a job, think back to when you did have a job. Imagine going to your job and just farting around on Facebook all day. I was going to say, some of you guys are smiling, and for those of you that just convicted yourself, I commend you for cracking the code to making money for doing absolutely nothing. I'm jealous of you. But imagine doing that, and imagine everybody in that workplace did the same thing. Yeah, right? You do nothing. Well, the business is going to fall apart. When the business falls apart, you don't get paid. When you don't get paid, you quit. And the same thing applies to your business. You must have a structure. When you go to your job, you have specific roles, you have specific tasks, you have things that you do on a daily basis that need to get done. That's why that company, that business is able to pay you. That's why that business is successful. So you must have a structure to your business. Now, inside of that structure, you need to have a solid game plan. Okay? You need to know what you're doing, and don't ever lose sight of that. If you're going to do solo ads, all right, you don't have to get distracted and overcomplicate it by building systems. If you're on a leadership team, then they probably have a system or a website you can plug into to where you can split test and you can use Dave's stuff, you can use your team stuff if you have something available to you. And if you don't, just use the stuff Dave puts out. It's great. So you need to have a game plan. All right, you need to know what you're doing and stick to it. Whether you're going to do media buying, you're going to do solo ads, you're going to do blogging, you're going to do free stuff if you're on a limited budget. If you're doing free stuff, you've got to do a lot of it to get results, but a lot of it does work. Okay, just remember, free stuff, difficult. I'm sorry, not difficult. It's easy, but you just have to do a lot of it. Okay, so have a solid game plan, know what you're doing, and know what your budget is. Okay, that's the second thing. Know what your budget is. Whether you can spend $10 a week, you can spend $100 a week, or you're just a rock star and you can spend $1,000 a week. Know what your budget is and stick to it for at least 60 days, okay? 2 months. Stick to it, because if you guys give up after 2 weeks, if I had given up after 2 weeks, I'd still be delivering pizzas. If I had given up and not stuck through, if I had not persevered, I wouldn't be where I am today. I would have stopped one stop short of my success. So know your budget. Come up with a 60-day budget and make it a weekly budget. So that way you guys can do something for your business every single day. How many of you guys are doing something for your business at least 5 days a week? Something productive, be it advertising, okay? I'd say probably about half of you raised your hand there, that's great. Okay, so have a game plan, have a budget, know how much you can afford, how much you can spend, and stick to it. Don't stray from that for at least 60 days, give me that much. And then have a schedule. Have a schedule for Monday through Friday, okay? Or maybe if Saturday's your free day, have it for Saturday. But come up with a schedule that you can stick to with that budget for at least 60 days. Okay, without getting frustrated. If you get frustrated, walk away from your computer. Don't get ticked off and go out there and write articles on the internet about how, Empower Network doesn't work when really it's just you guys giving up and getting frustrated. Walk away from that computer, come back an hour later, and then finish that schedule. Okay? So if you guys have a schedule and stick to it, you have a budget, you have a game plan, and you know what you're doing to build your business, you guys will have a very, very successful venture. And I promise you that. The very last thing I want to tell you guys is a little something I learned early on. It goes like this: facts tell and stories sell. Thank you. Okay, so when you guys are out there blogging, when you're out there shooting videos and sending them out to your list, even if you only have 4 people on your list, and you guys are out there sending emails to your list, remember, facts tell, stories sell. People buy into the relationship of you helping other people, all right? Now, obviously with the products we have, there's tons of value, but people want to connect with you when they're on their road to success. So facts tell, and stories sell. So keep that in mind when you guys are doing your videos, you're doing your emails to your list. Tell your story. I told you guys my story. The pizza boy, college dropout, moved in with my parents. Everybody, every one of you guys, you have a story. We all hit rock bottom before we get to the top. So we all have a story. I don't care what it is. You guys know your story. Write it down, write it out, perfect it. Tell people your story. Let them relate to you. And then throw a few facts in throughout about Empower Network, how we're the best thing out there. And when you guys are doing that with your list, with your videos, however you're marketing, people will connect with you. And when people connect with you, that's when they put money in your pocket. Good stuff? Yeah. Awesome. Dave, I'm going to turn it back over to you, my friend.